I know why you're here. So you want to start a home studio. You want to become an artist, maybe you want to record a podcast, or maybe even you're a voiceover artist or something like that. No matter what you do or who you want to become, they all have one thing in common. Getting what's in your head onto the computer so you can share it with the world, bro. Nowadays with everything being digital, it's easier now more than it has ever been. Obviously you need a microphone as well, but the real star of the show is this little device called an audio interface. And I got the perfect one for you. So what's up, my name is Zeke and welcome to the channel, man. So if you at any point in this video feel like I've provided you some value, or if you feel like you learned anything, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the like button. All right, let's get started. So up until this point, you've probably been using a USB mic or shoot, maybe nothing at all. But the best thing about it is you are trying to take that next step into getting professional audio quality for whatever endeavors you're about to be in. Good thing you're doing that. I like that about you because you know what I'm saying, if you want to be great, come to the right place. Today we're going to be talking about the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, and let me tell you, this thing is a beast for the price. Just a heads up, this is the second gen, and there is a new one out right now, but I'm going to show you exactly why. You might not even need that new version, but nonetheless, most of the stuff I'm going to talk about today is still included in the third gen. Let's start it off by talking about the design. It's really that outer casing that jumps right out at me. I think it's made of aluminum, but who really knows what it is? All I do know is that it looks good, and it feels kind of nice too. It's one of those things that lets you feel good about buying something that is kind of affordable, but it still feels and looks a little bit premium. Now let's get kind of into the meat and potatoes of what's kind of included in this audio interface. Now if you look at the face, of course there's a couple things that jump right out at you. Of course that big knob right there on the right side is basically to control your master volume for anything that's coming in and out. This is a feature that is pretty much universal for any audio interface. You're gonna see a big volume knob. But technically there's another knob right here for your actual headphone volume too. If you have a kind of nicer mic, it also comes with phantom power so you can actually give it the boost it needs to operate. There's a switch right here you can turn on and off for the direct monitoring. This is basically to let you know exactly what's coming through the mic at the same time so you can hear it in real time. I like having that on almost at all times when I got the mic on, just so I can kind of hear my actual voice. But hey, to each their own. We got two XLR inputs right on the front face right here. And the good thing about these XLR inputs is that you can actually plug in a 1/4 inch as well. Wait, is it 1/4 inch or what size is this thing anyways? The bigger ones, the bigger headphone jacks. Come on, I know what they're called. Then right next to both of those inputs, you have your input gain knob. So you can kind of adjust everything coming in. That way you're not peaking and, you know, scratching up all your vocals because you're not a DJ. Or maybe you are. But if you're doing vocals, you don't want them scratching. And right under that, you can flip back and forth between if you want to use a mic or an instrument, so you can kind of mess with the levels a little bit. Now on the back, you got two outputs for your speakers as well, left and right. So that pretty much makes this like your central hub for everything audio in your setup. Now here's the part where it gets good. This exact port is the exact reason why I think this is a perfect device for creating a home studio. With the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, you're able to plug this thing right into your USB, into your computer, laptop, or anything else. You don't need any fancy plugins or none of that crazy stuff. You're good to go. Now this is the second gen, so you see exactly what port this has. But with the third gen that's already available, which you might want to actually look at, has a USB-C connector. So if you ask me, just a little educated guess, I'm guessing there's probably going to be a lot less latency with the USB-C connector. But I'd still have to test them out to know. It might be kind of geared toward like a beginner, but I've been using this thing for so long and I would not say I'm a beginner at this point. I've used it for everything from recording rap vocals, R&B, all the way down to doing voiceovers and things like that for different projects. The preamps that are included in this thing are pretty high quality if you ask me. And for those who may not know what a preamp is, it's basically the actual input in the machine that's behind what you plug your mic into or your instrument into. If your signal isn't going in good, it's not gonna come out good either. So that's also one thing to consider. That's why it's super important to make sure your levels are nice and level going in so that you can get a good signal by the time you need to do any kind of mixing or mastering. But that's for a whole nother audio tutorial. Just keep that in mind though once you buy one and start recording. I personally haven't used both inputs at once to try anything in stereo, but the craziest thing about it is that you got two inputs. So if you wanted to do like a live performance or something like that, you can have your mic plugged in and your instrument, like a guitar or something like that, at the same time, so you don't have to record separately, which is dope. For a good long while, I actually just used solely the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 to record all my vocals. As I started to develop my home studio, of course I went on to things like grabbing another preamp to go into that, and of course there's an EQ, but these are all analog things that you don't necessarily need in today's mixing world. It gives you a different feel, but you can get by totally fine with plugins nowadays. So no matter what I used it for, this thing definitely delivered. So I can easily say that this thing stood the test of time. The only real gripe that I had about it was that sometimes I had to update the drivers. When you first get this thing out of the box, they used to come with the CD. I'm not sure if they do anymore with the 3rd gen, but you may need to go to the website to update the drivers. Because if you plug it in and it doesn't automatically load in, that will be your solution. Because that has actually happened to me before, where I've plugged it into a new computer where I've updated and it didn't necessarily pick up right away. But it's a pretty simple fix. You can just go to Focusrite.com and download the driver so it can read it. Another thing that's kind of along those same lines is that the latency kind of threw me off a couple times when I was using it. I'm not saying that this is a flaw in the product at all, because it simply just comes down to what your computer can handle. Mine, I just had to go into my actual DAW settings and just slide a couple sliders around, and that pretty much solved it. So that's just kind of like user error, so don't really hold that thing against it. Honestly, I can make a couple videos about how to do it, so let me know in the comments if you would actually watch something like that. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to some audio from the actual preamps of the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 and kind of compare them, so let you guys know exactly what you can kind of get out of it. I will tell you though, the microphone that I'm using, it is a TLM 103, so you might have a little bit difference in quality. But either way, you'll be able to get a nice little idea of what you can hear from it. Check, 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 1, 2, 3. This is an audio test for the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. This can be used in example for voiceover, as well as recording vocals for music, things like that. Although there is kind of a lot of noise going on right now, I did record this on Thanksgiving Day. So I will be showing you this test and then getting back to going to go eat some food. So this is a nice little vocal test of just the raw signal coming in through the mic, which is the TLM 103, straight into the Focusrite first bus right here. And that's pretty much it. Check, 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 1, 2, 3. This is an audio test for the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. This can be used in example for voiceover, as well as recording vocals for music, things like that. Although there is kind of a lot of noise going on right now, I did record this on Thanksgiving Day. So I will be showing you this test and then getting back to going to go eat some food. So what'd you think? Make sure you comment below what your impression of the Focusrite 2i2 was. For me, it's gotta be the great preamps that allow you to get crazy high audio quality. Not only that, the price you pay for what you get is stupid valuable. Just think about it. Once you can record anything you want, anything that comes from your head, and actually get it onto a track, the world is yours and the possibilities are endless. Check out the features on the Focusrite 2i2. You can record live instruments and vocals at the same time if you really wanted to. Crazy thing about it is that if you did want to record like a whole band, you're not going to be able to do it on this one specifically since there's only 2 inputs. But thankfully, Focusrite has almost thought about everything, because you can actually upgrade, not this specific unit, but you can buy different versions of the Scarlett. They have the 2i2 of course, the 4i4, you can get even up to 8 inputs if you really wanted to. But this is just in the entry Scarlett series, and if we're being 100% honest, this may be all you need. Now like I said, I've been using the 2i2 2nd gen version and it's held up greatly. But lucky for you, there's a 3rd gen available now, so I don't really see any real reason to backtrack. Though, if you stumble across a new 2i2 2nd gen on Amazon, or wherever you can find one, the 2nd gen and the 3rd gen only share so many differences. So it comes down to what you want to pay. So that's my little review on the Focusrite 2i2. I'll likely end up grabbing a 3rd gen soon just so I can compare them, but I haven't seen a huge need because it still works so well for my uses. If you're thinking about getting one, or if you think that the Focusrite 2i2 is no longer the king, let me know in the comments below. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can catch every new video we drop, man. For more details on the Focusrite and where you can get one, make sure you check the description. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.